Hey, many websites fail within the very first 5 seconds of somebody actually visiting the website. And a lot of times it's not a design problem, it's a strategy problem. You might have a great product or a great service or a great business or organization, but if you don't have the right sections in the right order on the homepage of your website, you're not going to elicit action because you're not funneling people the proper way. In this video, we're going to walk you through the top 8 sections that I recommend featuring on the homepage of your website and in what order to have them to get the most out of your website, to keep people from bouncing and instead to prompt people to take action. Okay, so when somebody lands on the homepage of your website, we don't want them getting bored, we don't want them getting distracted or checking out or going somewhere else. So how do we keep them engaged? We recommend having these 8 sections in the right order. We call this the Crucial Content Framework. And essentially, it's the framework that we use with every single website that our agency builds for our clients, and the framework that we recommend for all of our coaching clients. So again, these are the 8 sections that need to show up in this specific order. Let's start with section number 1, which is your website header. Okay, now when I say header, I don't mean the big photo section that's at the very top of the website. That's the above the fold section, which we'll get into next. But this is the header section. So I'm talking about that narrow bar that appears at the very top of every single page of your website. So this is a global element, meaning it's on every page. The homepage, the about page, the contact us page. It's that sliver, that bar at the very top. And the biggest things that I recommend including there, because it's a global element, number 1, we want to have your logo in the top left corner. And I recommend hyperlinking that. So think about it like this. If somebody's, poking through all the different pages of your website and they want to easily get back to the homepage, clicking that logo, if it can hyperlink to your homepage, it's kind of like a reset that takes them all the way back to the starting line. Next, we want to have your navigation bar that is right in the middle of your header. And we want to be, there's a couple different things here from a strategy perspective. One is we want to be really clear. So we don't want to use insider language in those different tabs across the top. It's very common for a church to want to use clever language like reach in, reach out, reach up, or something like that. People don't know what that means. So we want to be really clear with the language that we're using for those buttons in the nav bar. But also we want to make sure that from an organizational perspective, things are not hard to find. So it's very tempting to just add pages to a website and keep adding and keep adding. And before you know it, you have folders and subfolders and things are hidden. But we want to make it really easy for people to find the pages that they're actually looking for. And then the last thing that we recommend from a strategy perspective here in the header of your website is in the top right corner, we want to have an obvious button to push. And so there's a couple different things here. One, we want it to be very visible. We want it to be something that somebody intuitively wants to click. But again, we want to really lean into the language that we're using for that button. So we don't want to just have a contact us button. That's pretty generic and it's not very compelling. But if you have something that says get a free quote or get your free estimate or plan your visit or I'm new here or what to expect or donate or make a difference today or something like that, something that's actually going to make them want to click with the language that you're using in the button. And some websites also include an announcement bar in the header. This goes right above that header bar. An announcement bar that talks about upcoming events or maybe gives you information about a sale that you're running or something like that. You don't have to do that, but that can be a great place to include some information, even if it's just temporary. And then another optional item would be social media links. This is optional because we also are going to be including them in the footer, which we'll get to at the end of the video, which by the way, stick around for the end of the video because the footer is the most underrated part of a website, but really there should be an intentional strategy built around it because it's a global element. So we'll get to that later. But again, you can include social media links in the header as well. Okay, so the next section in the Crucial Content Framework that you want to include on the homepage of your website is the Above the Fold section. It shows up right underneath the header section that we just talked about. And the Above the Fold section is probably one of the most important pieces of real estate on your entire website because regardless of how somebody's coming to your site, a QR code, somebody texting them a link, or finding you on Google, they're going to see this first. This is the Above the Fold section. It's before somebody scrolls one time, they're going to see this spot on the website. So we want to make sure that we're optimizing it appropriately. Okay, so the first thing that we want to optimize in this above the fold section, which just means before somebody actually scrolls one time, we want to actually optimize the right kind of photos. Some websites don't have any photo in this section, which is a huge missed opportunity. Or one thing that so many churches and nonprofits and businesses fall prey to is having the wrong kind of photo. They want to put a picture of their product or a picture of their church building or an aerial shot of the city that they're adding value to. But you don't want to have that kind of photo in this above the fold section. Those can definitely come into play as you're scrolling down the website homepage. But in this above the fold section, we want to have photos of real humans, real people that are benefiting from your product or from your service or from your organization. People don't connect with pictures of toothbrushes or sneakers. They don't connect with pictures of buildings. They don't connect with pictures of trees or aerial landscapes. they connect with pictures of other people. And so again, happy, smiling people, it does two things. Number one, it elicits an emotional response from a website visitor. But number two, it takes away a little bit of the fear of the unknown to see what it's like actually working with your brand. If somebody sees other people being positively impacted with happy, smiling faces, then they feel reassured that they also would have a good experience partnering and taking the next step with your organization. The next thing we want to include here in this above the fold section is a compelling clarity statement. So this is going to be overlaid on top of the image or the video or the carousel of images that we just talked about. But we want to be really, really clear here what your organization is all about. So this is one sentence that really should answer three questions. Number one, who are you? Number two, what do you do? And number three, how are you making somebody's life better? So if somebody visits your website and they can't tell what you do in 5 seconds, they're probably going to get confused and they're going to bounce and go somewhere else. So again, we want to be clear, but we also want to be compelling. And the best way to do that is just one sentence, maybe two, but ideally one that is really concise, but it answers the questions, who are you, what do you do, and how are you actually making a difference or making somebody's life better? And then right underneath that clarity statement, this is the second best spot on your website for a call to action button. The number one spot is what we talked about in the header, which is the top right corner. That's where your eye instinctively goes to when you're ready to make a decision. But spot number two is right underneath that clarity statement, a button that is a obviously clickable button for somebody to actually take the next step. So the way that these three items kind of work together in this above the fold section, the photo elicits an emotional response, and then the clarity statement, of course, gives clarity to the website visitor. And then the call to action is the thing that's actually going to elicit them taking action on your website to actually take the first step in partnering with your brand and with your organization. Okay, so the third section of the Crucial Content Framework is one that many websites are notorious for leaving out. And this is a section called Identify the Problem. This is where we want to paint the stakes. We want to talk about pain points and friction that your website visitor might be going through. So again, it's very intuitive to talk about the solution and talk about how great you are or the great products you have or the great services you're offering. But a lot of people don't actually paint the stakes. They don't actually call out the pain points. I call it the friction. And that's what this section is all about. And it'll make sense more when we get into the next section of the Crucial Content Framework. But for now, let's talk about this section of identifying the problem. So I know this section probably doesn't feel as intuitive as other sections that we're going to talk about because I'm asking you to be negative. And I know that feels kind of weird, but the more negative you are in talking about pain points and friction points and painting the stakes for your website visitor, the more bright and happy and positive your solution is going to seem to them. So in this section, again, we want to be really, really intentional to talk about friction and pain points and things that they're probably going through. So for instance, maybe somebody feels lonely and they feel like they don't have community and you have a solution for that. But you're going to talk about the loneliness. You're going to talk about how it's just hard being alone and not having a community or not having people to rally alongside you. Or maybe you're a business, maybe you're a roofing company. This is your chance to talk about leaky roofs and to talk about hurricane seasons coming up and you can have peace of mind if you get a full roof inspection. So again, we're going to talk about solutions in the next section, but in this section, we want to talk about pain points and friction and problems. So people are visiting your website in the first place because they're trying to solve something. They have some sort of issue that they're going through. And so, for instance, if you're a plumber, maybe you paint the stakes by saying something like, hey, are you tired of paying too much for repairs? Are you frustrated with poor communication from your plumber? Are you worried that the job's not going to get done the first time, which could lead to wasted money or wasted time? And so, again, we're not really talking about the solution here. We're going to get to that next, but we do want to kind of paint some of these stakes and paint some of these friction points because that is empathy. You're going to be essentially describing the tension that they're already feeling. And that's going to cause somebody to nod their head and think, okay, they get me, they understand where I'm coming from, and that's going to build some trust right from the very beginning. Okay, so the next section of the Crucial Content Framework, you might have already guessed it, is position yourself as a solution to the problem. So we talked about pain points, we talked about painting the stakes and why you need to actually highlight some of the frustrations that somebody might be experiencing as they're visiting your website. But now we want to actually position yourself as a solution to those pain points and as a solution to those problems. This is your opportunity to brag about your organization, whether you're a church, a nonprofit, or a business. You want to actually talk about the things that are great about you and how you can alleviate the friction points and the pain points that somebody has been experiencing. So again, maybe if you're a nonprofit, you can say something like, we connect volunteers with meaningful opportunities to make a difference. Or if you're a church, maybe you say something like, we help you find hope and community, because maybe that's the problem that somebody's going through. They feel lonely. Or if you're a roofing company, then maybe you get to offer the solution of giving them peace of mind with a full roofing inspection before hurricane season or something like that. But again, this is your chance to actually identify yourself as a solution to the problem that you just explained in detail in the previous section. Lastly, in this section, we want to be really clear to have a call to action. So in the previous section, we talked about pain points and struggles and friction that they're probably going through. In this section, we're saying, hey, we're a solution to those pain points and to that friction. And then we want to have an obvious clickable button to push right underneath this section that prompts somebody to actually take the first step in partnering with your brand. By the way, if this framework is helping you think differently about website strategy and you want to learn more, you can take a deep dive by purchasing my new book, The Website Strategy Roadmap. Essentially, it's a clear guide to help you build an intentional website strategy. There's a section in there for website planning and a section for website marketing and messaging, which is a lot of what we're talking about today in today's video. And then also a section at the end all about UX or user experience to make sure that you're giving people a great experience as they visit your website and not a poor experience. You can get your copy of the Website Strategy Roadmap at websitestrategyroadmap.com. Okay, so the next section of the Crucial Content Framework is one that is very underrated but incredibly valuable. We call it clear process. We want to make sure that your website visitor understands, hey, engaging with this brand is super simple. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. We recommend having 3 steps, maybe 4, but no more than 4. But again, people need to be led. They need to be guided, especially on a website. They need to be able to know, how do I actually take the next step? And then what does the process look like to partner with them or work with them? And then what is the end result? What kind of success will I have at the end of the process after working with them? So again, be very, very clear. You can be creative with icons and different imagery and animations and so many other things as you're creating this clear process section of your website, but make sure that you're identifying a clear process for your website visitor. Okay, so the clear process section is all about showing people what the journey can actually look like for them. And so we'll get into some specifics in just a second, but essentially people need to be funneled. They need to be guided and led. You might have a great website, but if you're not actually painting a picture of what the journey looks like, somebody might not actually know how to take the first step, or they might not know what to do or what success could look like for them. And so we recommend a 3-step process. It could be 4 steps or 5 steps. I would say keeping it closer to 3, ideally, maybe 4 is ideal because we don't want to confuse somebody or have too much content or info. But again, we're just saying, hey, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. So it could be something like step 1, get a free quote. Step 2, schedule the job. Step 3, sit back and relax. So you notice in that 3rd step, I said sit back and relax. What we're doing there is we want to show them in that final step what success can look like for them. So again, let's say that you are a plumber. Then again, step 1 could say, Step 1, get a free quote, fill out the short form, or call us to chat about your plumbing needs. Step 2, schedule the job. We'll find a time that works best for you. Step 3, sit back and relax. Our plumbing team handles the rest so that you can get back to enjoying time with your family. So again, that 3rd one really elicits that emotional response, but we want to show them what the journey looks like and what they can do first. And so again, that first step ideally is clicking a button. And so right underneath these 1, 2, 3 easy steps, we want to have, again, a call to action that somebody can click to actually engage with your website and take the first step with your organization and with your brand. Also, this doesn't just have to be boring plain text. You could have some really nice custom designed icons for each one. You could add some animation so each of the steps kind of comes in at different times. It kind of float in from the sides or something like that. Or you could make it look like a cool timeline graphic. But again, have fun with it. But we really do want to show people what the journey looks like in partnering with your organization. Okay, section number 6 of the Crucial Content Framework is a testimonials section. This is essentially your social proof. People, as they're visiting your website, need reassurance that you're actually the best fit for them. So you can have an embedded Google feed with Google reviews. You can manually design some really nice testimonials or some quote graphics on your website. But again, the idea here is we want people to know that you actually do what you say you're going to do, and people love working with you. So it's the social proof. It's something that's going to actually make people think, okay, these other people are having a great experience with this website or with this person or this business or this service or this organization. And if I partner with them or work with them, then I'm going to have a great experience as well. So include a testimonial section on your website. A lot of our coaching clients that have us look at their website and give them some really good pointers or some ideas or some feedback, this is one of the things that often is left out of a website that is just a missed opportunity. And this is a very important section you want to include on your website. So the next section here is your lead generator section. Essentially what we're trying to do is give some sort of free value in exchange for an email address or a phone number, just a way to be able to follow up with people who might be interested in partnering with your brand or with your organization in the future. So the strategy behind the lead generator section is that there's probably a lot of people visiting your website that aren't actually ready to take the first official step. So what I mean by that is if you are a custom home builder, You might have people coming to your website that just aren't quite ready for you to build their home, but they might be ready for some other form of micro commitment. Or if you're a church, maybe they actually don't feel comfortable showing up quite yet on a Sunday morning. Or if you're a nonprofit, maybe it's somebody that wants to volunteer, but they're just not quite ready to take that first step yet. But if you have some sort of lead generator, some sort of free quiz they can take, or a free PDF checklist, or some sort of cheat sheet or something like that, then that could be something that could be a micro commitment that they would be interested in exchange for their email address. And then once you get that email address, then you could put them into an automated email funnel where they're getting one email from you per week or one email every couple of weeks. And that is a great way to get some brand touch points in. Studies show that it takes about 7 or 8 brand touch points like that before somebody's actually ready to make a commitment. Again, it depends on the business and depends on the industry, but it's a great way to kind of get some face time with your lead prior to them actually purchasing or donating or volunteering or visiting on a Sunday morning. So again, the strategy here is just giving some sort of value for free in exchange for contact info that you can then nurture and follow up with over time. The 8th and final section that we recommend in the Crucial Content Framework for the homepage of your website is your footer. And this is something that your website probably already has. The problem is a lot of websites, while they have a footer, they don't actually have a footer that's optimized for engagement as much as they could be. Now keep this in mind, your footer is a global element, so it's showing up on every single page. If you're scrolling down your homepage, your about page, your contact us page, your locations page, your FAQ page, you're going to get to the footer. And so if you don't optimize it, it's a huge missed opportunity. We want to make sure that we're having the right things included in the footer of our website. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that the footer is the most underrated part or the most underrated section of a website, and it's true because it's a global element. If somebody's scrolling down a long FAQ page or an About Us page or a Donate page, they're going to get to the footer. And so we want to make sure that we're really putting the right things in the right places here. The first thing is a logo. Again, hyperlink it, make it super easy. If somebody's scrolling down, they can click, your logo, and then it's sort of a reset that takes them back to the starting line. Next, we want to have some quick links that somebody might want easy access to. It doesn't have to be your full nav bar, but what are the 6 or 7 or 8 top links that somebody might want just easy access to with the click of a button? Again, the clarity statement should be in the footer. So that compelling clarity statement that we talked about earlier that answers the questions, who are you, what do you do, and why do you do it? Because that's going to kind of put that at the forefront of somebody's mind if they see it again in your footer. We also want to have just one last call to action button. So this is sort of like a Hail Mary. It's your last chance to kind of offer somebody a button to click once they're at the very, very bottom of your website. So again, donate button, give now button, purchase button, get a free quote button, whatever it is, we want to put that in the footer. And then we want to have social media links like we talked about earlier. If people are on your website, odds are they also want to connect with you on other platforms. And finally, of course, we want to have contact info. It's very intuitive for somebody to go to a website, and when they actually want to visit the storefront or they want to visit the church or they want to call you or email you, they're going to scroll to the footer instinctively to find that info. So not only does it need to be there, but here's the pro tip. Hyperlink it. Hyperlink the phone number and the email and the physical address, because 75% of people or more are coming to your website from a smartphone or tablet. And this is a great way to just reduce a little bit of friction from a website visitor. So for instance, if they see your address to your organization, instead of them manually having to copy and paste it or type it in with one click and one tap, boom, it opens Apple Maps or Google Maps, and they're headed straight to your business or to your church or to your nonprofit. So again, anywhere on your site, but especially in the footer, make sure you're hyperlinking all the contact info. All right, and that's it for today's video. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody who supports this channel, watches these videos, likes these videos. It actually means a ton to me, so thank you so much. Remember, you can't use out creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Stay creative, and we'll catch you next time.